Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing KnightFall once again, and this time we are running up against a Jund deck. Looks like we lost the roll, so we'll be on the draw here. This is our opener. We got Bop, Noble Hierarch, Path, and the return to retreat to Coralhelm. Sorry, I was going to call this return to Coralhelm for some reason. So this is not the most exciting hands. I kind of regret keeping it, which I do unfortunately. It doesn't really have any action going. Obviously if we draw a knight, we've got the combo, which is good, but otherwise there's not a lot going on, which isn't great. And then our opponent leaves off with an Inquisition taking our path, which is a bit unfortunate. So we're going to crack this Windswept Heath and play the Noble Hierarch. Opponent drops a Scavengers. I'm going to play Quasi Pride Mage and play out the Bop. I'm going to hunt Inquisitions the path. I mean, maybe I should have passed the Scavenging Ooze. Kind of becomes a problem later on, but the moment is everything had died, so I wasn't too concerned about it. Here we'll be able to withdraw Knight off the top, which is pretty sweet. And we were able to play the retreat and the knight in the same turn, which is pretty good. Opponent attacks with Scavenging Ooze. Not inclined to block, but he has a bolt, and then he's able to use Scavenging Ooze's ability to in my graveyard to kill the knight, unfortunately. So yeah, a little unfortunate, obviously. Although again, the opponent kind of had to do that, otherwise he would have been dead to the combo the following turn. Which you run out and make a knight soldier token. Elspeth seems like a good matchup for Elspeth. It's kind of a long-term threat, gives you a long-term game plan, and yeah, just is sort of a good presence to have on the board. Here we're kind of a bit behind, but if we'd been able to run it out earlier, I think it would have been really good and probably won us the game. It's still very good here as well. So we're able to make soldier tokens, find another knight, which your opponent's going to have to find two. We're going to find one, keep the pressure on our opponent's life total, particularly now that you've got Dark Confidant in play, which is a bit of a problem. Tarmogoyf off the top with the Confidant flip. And the opponent plays Colan's Command, forcing me to discard and then dealing 2 damage to the knight. I don't actually have anything to discard, so obviously the opponent just didn't have anything else to do. There's no creatures in the graveyard to return, so and no artifacts to destroy, so I suppose that was the only option really. And then I think he uses Scavenger and then kills the knight again. Unfortunately for us, so we're down to 5. We're able to scry. We see Scavenging Ooze on top. So to keep that seems like a reasonable thing to have. Maybe we can fight over Scavenging Ooze activations just to keep the pressure on our opponent's life total again. Took the forest, so no life lost this time. Jump the Scavenging Ooze here. We've gone down to 5. Well, there's a second Scavenging Ooze and a Tarmogoyf. Maybe play soldier token, another soldier token. Scavenging Ooze once more. It goes down to 8 after flipping a third Scavenging Ooze. That's with Tarmogoyf and the Scavenging Ooze. We're going to fight over this Knight of Reliquary. If we wanted to, we could have actually tried to exile it earlier when he had tapped lands, because he's going to win this battle. Basically I activate, he activates in response, targeting the knight, and then it's just down to who gets the last word basically. But he's got more green mana available to him. reason I'm doing this now anyway is because it'll shrink the Tarmogoyf. That's the only creature in the graveyard, I believe. Yeah, it's now been... Yeah, that was the only creature in the graveyard, so I wanted to shrink the Tarmogoyf by getting rid of that. He's going to take better advantage of that. Unfortunately. So I decided we can afford to take 3. We can't really, I mean he might have a bolt, but at this time we don't have much choice. So we're going to take 3 and just jump the Scavenging Ooze, go down to 2. And the Scavenging Ooze comes down. Draw Tarmogoyf, which isn't a bad draw. Make another token. Get our stuff up to 9 loyalty. So it's a fairly, not a bad position we're in. Well, could be better, but I mean, like I said, if our opponent does nothing next turn, then I would probably have gone for the emblem. Then all our guys are indestructible, and then I think we're in a fairly strong position. A lot of indestructible guys, and then we've still got Elspeth going, making his indestructible, making his tokens, etc. So, that's pretty good. And then our opponent would have to not kill himself with a Dark Confidant. I think my opponent realises this though, and obviously decides to get aggressive, activates his Raging Ravine, and gets in with everyone. And yeah, we're forced to make some pretty unsatisfactory blocks. The opponent shrinks the Tarmogoyf with some more Scavenging. So then he's got 3 creatures in a Raging Ravine, and I have got the ability to make 1 token Pathagai, but it's not enough to keep us alive, unfortunately. So yeah, closer than it looked. I think it looked like we were getting destroyed, but had we survived another turn, I think things would actually turned in our favour, as we would have probably been able to make an emblem, and then with our indestructible creatures just held the fort really until we found a way through, and we probably could have flown over with Birds of Paradise at that point, I guess, to just finish our opponent off. Maybe if we'd taken a different tact and got more aggressive with Elspeth and started like pumping the bop and flying over or whatever, or leaping one of our other creatures just to try and sort of get a bit more aggressive with our opponent on his life total, maybe that would have worked out, but I kind of feel like we needed the soldiers to keep our opponent's creatures at bay. I'm not sure. I feel like maybe we could have won this if we'd taken a slightly different tact, but not too sure on that one. So that's gone to game 2. So this is our opener. It's not too bad, but if we get Inquisitioned, we'll probably feel a bit sad if we lose our knight. But we do have removal, got Hierarch, so don't particularly want to mulligan that hand. Maybe more action would have been nice. So opponent bolts the Hierarch, unfortunately, so no turn 2 knight. So we might not have wanted to do that anyway. So doesn't do anything on his second turn. I'm going to play this Pride Mage instead of the Knight, just because the Knight's going to be 3/3 at the moment, because we've only had 1 fetch. So it takes out the Pride Mage, Liliana comes down, which is kind of a nightmare. It's got a path there, though nothing's particularly desirable. We get a Hierarch, which protects our Knight from Liliana's sacrifice. Things are not looking good. Sack the Hierarch to Liliana. I believe a Maelstrom Pulse comes and takes out the Knight of the Reliquary. Ooh, after the... Sorry. Yeah, so Maelstrom Pulse from our opponent takes out the Knight. He bolts to kill his Liliana, but our opponent and then I'm out of gas basically. So Hunt drops Huntmaster of the Fells, I believe. She's about as unfortunate as it can get. Well, I suppose it could be worse, but draw a ball, kill the Huntmaster, but the opponent's still got a wolf. He's also got a Rage Wishes. Plays it of Olivia Voldaren. Makes it into a 4/4 instantly, so Bolt can't finish it off. I draw Hierarch, which is no good, and yeah, this game is over, unfortunately. Yeah, I kind of regret keeping another lackluster hand against Jund. I don't think this match is particularly reflective of the matchup. I think we probably had some fairly dud hands. If we'd have drawn something a little bit more aggressive, I think things would have gone a lot better for us. But Jund is in general a fairly difficult matchup, so I kind of doubt we have a particularly favourable matchup against Jund, but yeah, definitely could have gone better. Probably not the best example of this matchup.